Thank goodness Janelle was already living with her daughter and grandkids. Sometimes life's unexpected heartbreaks remind us just how essential that built-in family support can be. And tell me, I'm not the only one who thinks baby Joey looks like Garrison's mini-me. Regardless, seeing Janelle surrounded by her grandbabies is genuinely touching. Her decision to move to North Carolina might just be the best call she's made in recent years. But wait, did you hear about this new farm everyone's been talking about? I'm praying it's more charming countryside fantasy than crazy DIY disaster. Fingers crossed for cute barns and serene porches, not creaking ceilings and dirt driveways. Oh, and totally unrelated, but I just have to say it, Caleb, something about him just makes me feel the ick. Don't ask me why. Let's just say vibes don't lie. We've got a lot to unpack in today's episode, so let's not waste a second. I'm Aria, and this is TLC Vibes. Welcome back to the channel. Now let's dive into what made this week's moments so unforgettable. David absolutely nailed how to talk to someone grieving, especially when that someone is a parent. His simple but powerful line, "I didn't know him well, tell me some stories about him," was a masterclass in empathy. So many people avoid mentioning a loss, fearing they'll make things worse. But here's the truth. You're not reminding them of their pain. They already carry it every moment. And especially for parents, talking about their child is healing, not harmful. Want to know the one thing you can say to somebody who is mourning? Tell them you'd like to hear some memories. And then listen. It's an act of love, an unsentimental one. And David did it beautifully. That one thing bumped him up in my estimation a great deal. I was really impressed with the way he worked with Christine's raw feelings. He noticed her tears welling up and didn't attempt to stifle them or redirect the conversation. Instead, he just let her know it was all right to feel everything she was feeling. No platitudes, no dismissal, just unadulterated emotional validation. And his counsel? Right on. He advised Christine that it's acceptable to smile at times, to laugh when you can, but it's also acceptable to scream when the hurt is too much. Keeping things bottled up never turns out well. And David has learned that firsthand from his own walk through bereavement. Though he hasn't lost a child, he has lost a wife, and that type of sorrow leaves a scar that remains. It's what makes his compassion so genuine, so real. David seems like the total opposite of everything Cody isn't. Mature, level-headed, and truly caring. All that stuff with Christine just made me look at him differently. You can see he's been through hell and back, and emerged smarter. Sorrow doesn't disappear, it just becomes something you carry around. And David coaxed Christine into putting her focus on the love, the laughter, the precious time she spent with Garrison. And talk about contrast of emotions, let's discuss Cody and his newest deviation into narcissism. Cody and Robyn drove to Cody, Wyoming. Yes, a real town that has the same name as him. How fitting, right? It's practically poetic how a guy so obsessed with himself ends up in a town literally named after him. Robyn attempted to frame it in a way that it fits perfectly as some innocent hole-in-the-wall road trip. But Cody let the cat out of the bag. It's almost an hour away. Then, why flee to a town bearing his name? Well, rumor was he can no longer show his face in his hometown. Why not? Because the very same friends who cheered him on from the LDS sidelines are now the same ones ripping his decisions to shreds. The same way of life he used to refer to as divinely guided is now something to be ashamed of, or at least in controversy. And now, having turned his back on the faith that once united his family, Cody appears to be fleeing from more than his troubled past. Try to imagine dumping your first wives and children and then appearing in public as if nothing has changed. That's what Cody's done. And it's difficult not to wonder what those who once admired him think now. In the meantime, it's interesting that members of his own extended family are backing up Christine's wedding and being loyal to the original 3 wives and kids. And where is Cody? Off hiding from the same place where he forged his so-called family and faith. He won't even set foot on the polygamy ranch. Why? Most likely because he realizes in his heart that he can't live with the repercussions of his own decision. He defected from his religion and deserted his family for Robyn, and that's not the sort of image he's keen to show off in public. They tried to pass off this little trip as some cheerful family retreat, like they were reliving the good old days, but let's be honest, that version of events just doesn't stick. This isn't about grief anymore, it's about control over the story. And while I'm not here to question anyone's pain, The way they're twisting reality is worth calling out. Here's the raw reality. Cody and Robyn are not welcome back in the town Cody used to call home. Sure, they might have swung by, but to do that would have meant answering difficult questions and perhaps, just perhaps, owning up. And we all know that doesn't fit into the carefully constructed mythology they're so desperately trying to safeguard. Some people believe this trip was manufactured for TV. In my opinion, I don't believe it was completely fake, but there was a sense it felt staged. While the rest of the family were probably over at the ranch, Cody, Robyn, and a TLC camera crew were over an hour away, creating a very different narrative for the viewers. And what happens? Cody might have done this completely differently. He might have been able to meet the moment. He might have been able to go out to the ranch with Janelle, hang out with the entire family, and then join Robyn and her children later. He might have been able to demonstrate unity, vulnerability, and potentially healing. Instead, he remained barricaded in Cody, Wyoming, with Robyn dictating every step and making sure that Garrison's memory was filtered through her. To be clear, I'm not saying Robyn and her children didn't deserve to grieve. Garrison loved them, but everything about the way this was handled just feels off. Cody's grief is valid, but that doesn't give him a pass to act like nothing has changed. If he truly wanted to pay his respects, he would have faced the family. He would have been present. But again, it appeared that Robyn's influence drew him from doing the right thing. And yes, maybe it sounds like I'm being hard on Robyn, but take a step back and look at the bigger picture. She's been central to so many of the decisions that have isolated Cody from the rest of his family. She didn't just skip showing empathy, she misrepresented the entire trip. While the others mourned, she was too busy managing how it all looked on camera. If I were standing in Cody's shoes, I'd have taken that journey to Wyoming with only Garrison's ashes in tow. I'd have said the things I should have said when he was alive. I'd have sat still, perhaps even listened to the music he so adored and really respected who he was. But instead, it became a family vacation, one that left Garrison behind in more than one sense. And that's what hurts. Cody neglected his son during life, and it seems like he's neglecting him during death as well. He and Janelle could have gone on that trip together. They could have mourned alongside each other, buried their son with love and harmony, and had a service later if necessary. But instead, the focus remained on Cody and Robyn as usual. People are absolutely right when they say Cody has made Garrison's death about himself. He's allowed Robyn to control the story, and he's gone along with it, fully complicit. He hasn't even reached out to comfort the other children or his ex-wives. If it were me, I'd want to share the pain, lean on the mothers of my kids, and hold my family close. But Cody, he's too caught up in playing the victim to do what actually needs to be done. And that, as unfortunate as it is just as much his fault as it is Robyn's. Her actions since Garrison's untimely death have been more than disappointing. From the crocodile tears to the obligatory need to comfort Cody instead of providing support to the entire family, her actions have been totally self-serving. The funeral was all about Garrison, not Robyn. And yet, somehow, she manages to make it all about her. Worse is her complete lack of regard for Janelle's hurt. It's as if Janelle doesn't even occupy space in Robyn's reality, which isn't just unkind, it's actually disrespectful. Let's not overlook one of the largest turning points that contributed to breaking up this whole family. Robyn cutting off her children from their brothers. A small argument about Christmas presents escalated into a complete split between Cody and his sons, particularly Garrison and Gabriel. All because of Robyn's drama about a group chat for kids. It's unbelievable how something as insignificant as this created so much destruction. And during the pandemic, Robyn had some of the most rigid house rules of anyone, playing like a fortress of safety until all of it collapsed. Who brought COVID into their home? Not a kid, not a family member, their nanny. That's right. While Cody was busy preaching to his other kids about safety measures, Robyn had someone coming and going through her door who obviously wasn't obeying the rules. The hypocrisy was ginormous. And then there's the coup de grace. Robyn out running errands in the middle of COVID, getting stopped for speeding, no masks anywhere, berries in the cop's face, and Robyn just sits there, not a word, no attempt to diffuse. No care that they're setting a bad example. It's clear now that all those so-called regulations weren't about safety. They were about control, about keeping Cody where she wanted him. In the meantime, her daughter Brianna was still going to school in person, and Robyn was living as if none of the rules she insisted on governed her. And the disparity couldn't be greater. The other wives, at least, went out of their way to visit Janelle, to pay their respects. Robyn, however, she remained mute, too immersed in her own theatrics to even make a token gesture of compassion. Honestly, she needs to take some responsibility. At least she could have made some public expressions of sympathy for Janelle. But what we got was nothing but staged tears and constant drama in which she is the besieged victim. It's tiring. And then came the breaking point, the memorial room at the Humane Society for Garrison. I figured maybe, just maybe, they'd someday put up a plaque. And then they revealed it. Already completed, already aglow. His name, his memory, etched forever with the cats he adored. That's when it hit me hard. Massive love to the Humane Society and all who made that moment possible. The woman who interviewed Janelle knew just what to say. Her warmth emanated. But when Janelle couldn't get words out, and Savannah came in to complete her sentence, that was my breaking point. That photo of Garrison smiling with his cat, it was gorgeous and totally heartbreaking. He left this world too early, but he won't be forgotten. And then, just as you think the feelings can't possibly get any more naked, Robyn appears once more to commandeer the moment. I've never craved muting my screen so fiercely. A death changes you, she tells him, as if this is merely some universal tragedy. Not the death of Cody's son, not the loss of a brother, just a death. The way she talks about Garrison makes it seem as though he were a stranger, an annoyance. Someone who, God forbid, might divert Cody's attention away from her for 5 minutes. And then, as if that wasn't tone deaf enough, she remarks, I think the graveside ceremony is going to be quite sorrowful. Really? What tipped her off? The casket? The mourning mother? It's not really a party, Robyn. It's your husband's kid. Be human. Her crocodile tears, her passive-aggressive behavior, it's tiring to behold. And to be honest, I don't blame my Keltie for not wanting to get close. Hearing everything that went on at the funeral, it totally makes sense now. And don't even try to feign that Robyn contributes anything valuable to the discussion. Her input typically amounts to little more than filler sentences and amorphous, unrelated musings. It's now utterly transparent. She cares less about listening to the people in pain than about manipulating the story. For real. Robyn had no place anywhere close to Garrison's family business, and let's not beat around the bush. Janelle is too nice for her own good. That kind of elegance is enviable, but in this instance, it's also a weakness. Most women wouldn't have remained quiet. They would have called out Robyn and made Cody deal with some actual repercussions, perhaps even hauled him into court for child support by now. But somehow, they always managed to get away with it. And it's more than infuriating. Enough is enough. And I truly feel bad for Solomon. Seeing those tributes to Garrison repeatedly and repeatedly has been nothing but heartbreaking. There's this aching, irrevocable sense that Garrison never got the complete love and respect he deserved, at least not from those who should have given it to him most. Fortunately, his moms and siblings, the OGs, bathed him in love. But the larger picture? It just stings. Then last night's show struck me another way, punch to the stomach. Because now it is Solomon who looks at risk. He looks like this nice, quiet boy, but how he is being treated. It is like he is being used more as a prop than an individual, jostled before cameras for spectacle, just enough to maintain the checks. And that hurts too. Of course, we don't see everything. We're operating on edited snapshots, not the entirety of reality. Before the move to Flagstaff, the kids were everywhere, scene after scene, day after day. But now, we hardly ever see Solomon for more than a few minutes every episode, and those minutes are spliced together to create the illusion that we've seen more than we have. Let's be fair, he's a pre-teen boy. He's not going to be as open with the cameras as the older kids were after years of filming. He hasn't built the same trust with the crew, and it shows. So yes, people are quick to judge, but we're really only catching glimpses. A few hours of edited footage spread out across an entire season. That's not enough to truly understand his life or situation. And as much as everyone loves to finger point Robyn and Cody, and I'm not blaming them, they've had their fair share of criticism. We still need to consider that with Solomon, there could be more to the story than what we're witnessing. At the same time, the emotional drama keeps mounting, particularly in how the rest of the family is rallying. One highlight? Mary showing up for Janelle. That was intense. Yeah, they've had a tough history, but when it counted, Mary was there. No cameras to capture all this. No drama to complicate all this. Just genuine support. She brought food, comfort, and a reminder of what that sister-wife thing is all about. Christine also indicated that she's been keeping tabs on Janelle. And no surprise there. Those two had each other's backs. Robyn? Crickets. No mention, no visit, no sympathy. And yet, there was a time when she professed she didn't want to be sister wives with Janelle anymore. When was that exactly? Because I most definitely don't recall any loving overture, any olive branch, or even a genuine nod of sympathy regarding Janelle's bereavement. Perhaps Robyn does know, intuitively, that her presence would only compound the problems. Let's face it, nobody really views her as a part of the fundamental family anymore. She might be married to Cody legally, but emotionally, she's light years behind everybody else. Mary and Janelle may have their dramas, but there's genuine history there. They know one another, they've stood by each other, and when it counts, they show up. With Robyn, there's no depth, just distraction. So while some fans say she should have been there, I'm actually relieved she didn't force herself into a space where she wasn't welcome. She likely knew she'd only stir up more tension. And here is the key point that usually gets missed. Mary and Janelle's relationship actually existed before all of this. Janelle already knew Mary's family when she first met Cody. That foundation is years and years old. And that's why, despite all of this, they still managed to turn to each other at their lowest points. Mary and Janelle's bond is deep. It's so deep, in fact, that it actually predates Cody. They've been friends for decades, long before polygamy fame and reality TV turmoil. They've lived through 1,000 ups and downs, and that sort of connection, that doesn't just disappear. They've established a foundation that even Cody, with all his drama and dysfunction, can't ruin. But talking of Cody, what about the ticking time bomb that is his dynamic with Robyn? Will he begin to resent her? It may seem unlikely now, given how he idolizes the ground she walks on, refers to her as his soulmate, his ride or die, the love of his life. But this is the thing. Grief tends to pull back the curtain, and resentment, it can slip in quietly, particularly after a child's death. Come on, we all realize Cody has pretty severe narcissistic tendencies. 19 years in, and he's still shown time after time that he loves to talk about himself most of all. But even the most egocentric individuals, one day or another, get their days of reckoning. And I think someday, Cody's gonna sit back and think about how much time he wasted with Garrison. And he won't just berate himself for it. He's going to blame Robyn as well. Let's not forget, he's already had moments of lucidity. He said that the pandemic lockdowns were excessive, that the theatrics around it were about control, not safety. But in the moment, he defended Robyn like royalty, shooting down every criticism, turning a blind eye to the increasing rift between her and the rest of the family. He quashed any criticism, made her out to be the victim, and shut everyone else out. But eventually, one day, perhaps not today, perhaps not this year, he will have to sit down with the truth. That the distance, the broken relationships, the irreparable harm with his children, much of it occurred while he was too busy taking care of Robyn's feelings rather than his own children. To the cameras, he was the chivalrous protector. He insisted on apologies, declared his sons weren't safe with Robyn, which still doesn't hold water, by the way. But the fact is, Cody's so afraid of being by himself. Robyn is his emotional crutch, his safe place, the last person standing who still strokes his ego, and so he hangs on to her. But somewhere, deep within that fragile ego of his, Cody knows. If he had put Robyn above all others, perhaps things would not have escalated like this. So yeah, I believe that resentment is on its way. And when it arrives, it's going to be ugly. He'll never say it outright, at least not initially, but Cody's going to know the significance of everything he's lost. And Robyn, she's not innocent, regardless of the amount of tears that she cries on television. What's your opinion? I've had posts removed for saying less, but hey, I didn't call him an a-hole today. So maybe we're safe, just barely. Seriously? I wouldn't be shocked if Robyn does end up leaving Cody. In the last episode, she mentioned something like, people change with grief. And at first, it didn't really click. But when I watched it again, boom, it hit me. That wasn't a throwaway line. That was Robyn setting things up. Subtle, but very revealing. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that scene really stood out. If Robyn doesn't keep Cody occupied with her normal chaos, he may actually begin to think about what he's doing. And we all know that's a bad idea for someone like him. Because let's be real, Cody will never really take responsibility for his part in the COVID mess or for driving Garrison away. Narcissists are experts at avoiding blame. If anyone gets faulted, it'll likely be Janelle. Again, because that's his default move. And hey, glad Cody and Robyn were able to get their little family getaway in. What a great respite, on the heels of losing a child. I'm watching season 9 again right now, trying to figure out how we ended up here. And each time Robyn appears on screen, it's like the vibe just crashes. Her drama, her sense of entitlement, it's draining. For real, who takes a fun family vacation when they should be delivering their son's remains to his grave? That's not mourning. That's spin. And let me tell you what moment actually affected me. Christine's tree, the one she had planted in memory of Garrison. Chef's kiss. It was peaceful, lovely, and full of love. That one moment outweighed all the emotion Cody and Robyn ever delivered combined. Oh, and don't even get me started on the reason why they didn't remain in Cody's hometown. So it turns out that the hotel rooms just weren't good enough. And there's nothing to do there. Right, because God forbid they value meaning over comfort. Rather than respecting the journey for what it was, a chance to mourn and bond with the rest of the family, they made it into some strange nostalgic rest stop about Cody's ill-fated sign-selling venture. Because that's what we all needed. A montage of Cody's most cringe-worthy business moments. Gosh, the producers didn't even have to stretch it that much. There was enough emotion and heartache to carry an episode, but no. Cody and Robyn just had to make it all about them, their take on pioneer family fun. And as always, they utterly missed the mark. Christine's tree, though, that name, it's burned into my brain. It captured Garrison's legacy with more love and sincerity than Cody and Robyn could ever manage. And honestly, I'm relieved. For the rest of the family, at least. At least they get to grieve, grow, and move forward without the cloud of Cody and Robyn constantly sucking the air out of the room. David spoke the truth when he stated that grief is not all about tears. It's about the laughter, the stories, the anger, and the messiness of it all. It's raw, it's ugly, and it's real. And when you bottle it up or try to act it out for cameras, it always ends up finding its way to the surface. Let me know what's on your mind in the comments. Are we all witnessing the same train wreck here, or am I just hyper-energized this week? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, and lots of love to you all.